So after like, dude, it's been 5 months since I uploaded that shit. Holy shit. After 5 months, finally found a second topic to get angry over, and I'm going to lose sleep over this. As you can see, it's 8 in the morning. I got work in a couple hours, but I saw this right before I was going to bed. So we're about to have some fun times about this one. So this one is in specific. I don't have it pulled up yet. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm gonna cut this out because I cannot show my bookmark. Okay, actually I can't show my bookmarks. That's okay. Okay, so I gotta pull it up now. This is about the pirate software, the Stop Killing Games initiative, all that stuff. That's what this is about. This is something I feel very passionate about. We're gonna start off by reading the actual initiative itself, and then we're gonna go through the video, and then we're gonna go through his tweets, and then we're gonna go through all of it. And I'm just gonna, this guy's a fucking idiot. Let's start there, but let's not start there. Let's start at the Stop Killing Games initiative. So it's a consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games that they have sold to customers. This is the purpose of the movement. Started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. A good example of this, let's look it up. The Crew. The Crew is a video game that's been having a lot of drama over it. I'd say the past little bit. Mostly because this was a game that you could purchase, like buy for like real money, and then Ubisoft you want your access to it just like that, and you can never play it again. There's still no way to play it. It's completely inaccessible, and I think that's complete bullshit. I don't think companies should be allowed to do that. Other companies can do this as well. 2K, Blizzard, at any moment, for any reason, they can just take away your access to a game for and there's nothing you can do about it. It doesn't matter if you pay. Okay, for free games, I understand that they have the right to do that. You do not pay money for that game. You may pay for microtransactions, but that's not the same thing as paying for the game. There's an actual kind of logic to be had there. With this, there's not really I don't see how that's fair to consumers. I just don't see how that's fair at all. Back to this though. Increasing number of video games are sold effectively as goods with no stated expiration date, but designed to be completely unplayable as soon as support from the publisher ends. Practice is especially a form of planned obsolescence and is not only detrimental to customers, but makes preservation effectively impossible. Furthermore, the legality of this practice is largely untested in most countries. This is all factual information right here. Do you think Overwatch? You want to play? Go play Overwatch 1 right now. Oh wait, you can't. I mean, actually, you can. It's just Overwatch 2. But fuck, man. If you want to play Overwatch 1, fuck you, I guess, man. You can't, because it requires an online connection. I mean, there's no reason why we couldn't have an offline 6v6, versus CPU team mode. It is fucking was Overwatch. I think I remember if it was 5v5 or 6v6 at the time. I don't remember. But my point is, you get the point. You cannot play this game anymore. Same with, there's something I also have, I own 2 copies of, rather. And these things are just fucking useless. So I own a copy, I'm going to pull it out you guys can actually see it, but you can't. I own a copy of Destiny, the Taken King Legendary Edition, not only for Xbox 360, but for Xbox One as well. That's Dark Souls. Fuck. That's fucking Sonic X Shadow. God damn it. There we go, 3rd time's a charm. Yeah, I own it for Xbox 360 and Xbox One. There's no reason for me to own both of these. You know why? Because these games require an online connection, which means I cannot play them because Bungie has taken them offline. Meaning these discs that I carry that have the full games on them are effectively e-waste. This is effectively fucking useless. I had the GameStop receipt. I may as well just go back and return this shit. I don't know if there's a return date on it. I may as well. I mean, because what the fuck else am I gonna do with it, man? Someone out there, let me pull out the fucking receipt. How much did they pay for this game? Someone paid $100. Okay, no, they gave $100 for it, but they paid $64 for this fucking game, this Xbox One copy of Destiny Legendary Edition, the Taken King, and he can't even fucking use it anymore. That's horrible, man. Why can companies just do that? This is a $64 game that's basically just fucking e-waste. I mean, it sucks. And I feel Bungie is one of the. I've heard a lot of bad things about Destiny 2 and their DLC, how some of it's just inaccessible now. They're just terrible with preservation, man. Game preservation is something that's a very big issue in today's time. But we'll get to it. But back to it. Over the past year, we successfully escalated complaints on this problem to consumer agencies in France, Germany, and Australia, and brought forth petitions for this new law on this problem to various countries. A list of actions taken to date can be viewed here. These are some of the actions they have taken. I mean, they just complaints on the crew, because that is like some bullshit. Most of it's just still ongoing. Yeah. Go back to this. Why they chose the European Citizens Initiative? I mean, their reasoning is it's the most powerful option at their disposal. Because listen, I'm a U.S. resident. I'm gonna tell you straight up. If you tell me to sign a petition, I'm probably not gonna sign it because I know it's not gonna go anywhere. Like, just straight up petitions in this country do pretty much nothing. But in the EU, they actually have like laws to where petitions, they have to, the government has to take a look at them if they get a certain amount of signatures. So like, here we go. UK citizens and residents can sign a petition where if it passes 100,000 signatures, a new law will be considered to be brought before Parliament to debate prohibit publishers from destroying video games that customers have already paid for. I wanna emphasize this part. To prohibit publishers from destroying video games that customers have already paid for. So this does not include free games. This just includes games that you personally have paid money for. Yeah, I mean, and yeah, the unfortunate part about it is it does exclude countries like people from the US from participating in important things like this, because I'm a US resident and it just kind of feels like I'm watching video game preservation drown from the outside, and there's really not much I can do about it. This is really the most I can do. I can make some video to some 14 people who are going to see it. That's really about it, man. And this is all I can do. This is something I'm really passionate about. I just got to do something, man. This guy's just completely misrepresented what this entire thing is for. It's awful. Yeah. So this is all I can do to support this initiative. Let's go through the FAQs. How are publishers destroying video games? An increasing number of video games are designed to rely on a server that the publisher controls in order for the game to function. This acts as a lifeline to the game. When the publisher decides to turn this off, it is essentially cutting off live support to the game, making it completely inoperable for all customers. Companies that do this intentionally prevent people from repairing the game by also withholding vital components. When this happens, the game is destroyed, in quotes, because no one can ever operate it again. Why should people... I'm not going to go through all of these. I'm just going to go through the main points, because these are sentiments I share. Why should people care about destroying video games? Well, video games are primarily just for entertainment and not of much consequence. The practice of a seller destroying a product someone has already paid for represents a radical assault on consumer rights and even the concept of ownership itself. Truth fucking nuke right there. It's not about the fact, okay, it is partially about the fact that they're, taking away the video games that we paid for. It is about the principle of I paid money for this and you should not be able to take it away just because, you have access to the server. I should still be able to have access to it in some way, shape, or form after it's dead. Like, once my toaster fucking dies, who makes toasters, dude? I don't fucking know. Let me go with the household appliance. Like, what if my Dyson vacuum stops fucking working? And, what, can Dyson just come and take that shit from me? No, like, why would they... That's not even the same thing now I think about it. But that's not the point. The point is, I paid for this good. The company should not have the right to take it back away from me. It is a consumer right that I feel like you should have. Back to it. If this practice does not stop and may be codified into law and spread to other products of more importance over time, such as agricultural equipment, educational products, medical devices, etc. This is what I'm talking about. It's not about, yes, it is about the fact that this is trashing on video game consumer rights, but it's a part of a potentially bigger problem and sets a bad principle. Like with Nintendo setting Mario Kart World at $80. We're already seeing Xbox release games at $80. You got the Outer Worlds 2 priced at $80. That's some crazy shit, man. How is this campaign going to save video games? If companies face penalty for destroying copies of games they have sold, this is very likely to start curbing this behavior. If a company is forced to allow customers to retain their games even in one country, implementing those fixes worldwide become a less trivial issue for them. So, if destroying a game you paid for became illegal in France, companies that patch the game would likely apply to patch to the games worldwide. Analogy to this process, how the ACCC in Australia had forced Valve to offer refunds on Steam, so Valve ended up offering people them worldwide as a result. This is true. It would have a domino effect. We can only target the EU. This initiative only targets the EU because it's the only place where we can make it. There's a chance for change, you know, in this law, in this like bullshit law that these companies have. I mean, you know, they shouldn't. Like, I understand we agree to the terms of service, but that the terms of service aren't laws. Like, the companies have to understand that. Just because I say, yeah, just because I agree to, yeah, sure, you can take away access to my game anytime, that does not mean it's, you know, backed up by law. There's like, you can, you know, you get what I'm trying to say. Aren't you asking companies to support games forever? Isn't that unrealistic? No, we are not asking for that at all. This is important because this comes back to this fucking idiot's point. Go back to it. We are in favor of publishers ending support for a game whenever they choose. What we are asking for is that they implement an end-of-life plan to modify or patch the game so it can run on customer systems with no further support from the company being necessary. This is completely possible, by the way. This has happened. This I can show you this happening, like, live, actually. Ignore the big gay black guys folder. It's exactly what you think it is. Let's see. I've got it in here somewhere. What was I looking for again? Go back. I completely forgot what I was looking for. Yeah, I remember now. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna go through this online component. RPCS3. Oh, awesome. I do have it. So RPCS3 has this component. Not this component. This plugin. It's called RPCSN. I've only got a couple games for RPCS3, but as you can see, my version's very out of date. That's not the point. The point is, let's take a look. They've got this thing called RPCSN, like I said. So we go to network. Right, they have this. They have an emulated version of the PlayStation Network for PS3, which basically lets you play a lot of these games online. Like, you can play Demon's Souls online again through RPCSN. You can play. I don't have many other games. You can play Metal Gear Solid 4 online through this. You can play a couple other games. I'm sure I can't remember off the top of my head. But the point is, even these, you know, multiplayer online components, just because they're online multiplayer components, doesn't mean there's not a way to preserve them. You know, I mean, there's always fan preservation, even if they have to release like server binaries or something. Sure, man, more power to them. Whatever gets more fucking people to, you know, whatever helps preserve games more. Who cares, man? Yeah, about to say. And then there's already like examples of this, and I'll go through examples that probably aren't listed here. We agree that it is unrealistic to expect companies to support games, and definitely do not advocate for that in any way. Additionally, there are already real-world examples of publishers ending support for online games in a reasonable, responsible way, which is Gran Turismo Sport, published by Sony, Knockout City, Mega Man X-Dive, Scrolls, Camp Colors Bang, and Duelist. A game that comes to mind for me is Animal Crossing. Fuck, dude. What is that fucking mobile game called? Happy, no. Mobile game. What's this shit called? Pocket Camp. Okay, so this was a live service Nintendo game. Nintendo took it offline recently. They announced that it was its end of service was coming recently. So what they did, instead of just shutting the game down completely, they said, hey, instead of shutting this game down completely, you get all content in this game, $20 flat, and you can play it offline. Fuck yeah, man. And look, there are no in-app item purchases. You just get the full game right here, $20. I mean, it's completely preserved now. I mean, you know, fuck, man. At this point, anybody can play it down the line, as long as we have Android devices down the line, you know? It's not hard. So, you at this point, 14 minutes into the video, you probably understand the point of the Stop Killing Games initiative. The point is to add an end of life plan for live service games. Not all live service games, just ones that the customers have paid for. Not single player games, not all games, just you know, live service games that customers have spent money on / paid for. All right, I'm gonna go through this point as well. What about large-scale MMORPGs? Isn't it impossible for customers to run those servers when they are shut down? Not at all. However, limitations can apply. Several MMORPGs have seen server emulators emerge that are capable of hosting thousands of players, just on a single user system. Not all of this will be scalable, however. For extra demanding video games that require powerful servers the average user will not have access to, the game will not be playable on the same scale as the one the developer or publisher was holding it. That said, that is no excuse for players not to be able to continue playing the game in some form once support ends. Amen, dude. That is what I'm saying, dude. So if a service could originally support 5,000 people with the end user version can only support 500, that's still a massive improvement from nobody being able to play the game at all. Facts. I mean, you know, even if it's those 500 people aren't going to be playing the game at all, you know, all the time. There you go. Can you really expect all features in an online-only game to work when support ends? Not necessarily. We understand that some features can be impractical for an end user to attain if running on a server from an end user system. That said, we also see the ability to continue playing the game in some form as a reasonable demand from companies that customers have given money to. There's a large difference between a game missing some features versus a game being completely unplayable in any form. Wouldn't what you're asking ban online-only games? I'm sorry, I didn't say I was going to go through all the questions, but these are some really good questions. Not at all. In fact, what we are seeking would interfere with any business activity whatsoever while the game was actively being supported. Or excuse me, nothing we are seeking would interfere with business activity while the game is being supported. The regulations we are seeking would only apply to companies when companies decide to end the games. So this is only when they decide to give the end of life service games. And then until then, they can run the game any way they see fit, you know? Isn't this unreasonable to ask of free-to-play games? Well, free-to-play games are free for users to try. They're supported by microtransactions, which of course customer spends money on. When a publisher ends a free-to-play game without providing any recourse to the players, they're effectively robbing the features that they bought upon that game. Hence, they should be accountable for making the playing game playable in some fashion once support ends. Our proposed regulations have no impact on non-commercial games that are 100% free, however. Isn't the law on this already settled? It is mostly settled within the United States, but not within other countries. Many existing laws are not written for a scenario where the seller destroys the product sold to the customer after the point of sale, since this is not something that normally happens in the real world. The fact that there is so much ambiguity in this practice is why we're pursuing so many legal avenues. Wouldn't what you are asking force the company to give up its intellectual property rights? Isn't that unreasonable? No, we were not require the company to give up any of its intellectual property rights, only allow players to continue running the game they purchased. In no way would this involve the publisher forfeiting any intellectual property rights. Very important part. Are companies unable to do this due to license agreements they make with other companies that expire, like with music, other software product brands, etc.? No. While those can be a problem for the industry, those will only prohibit the company from selling additional copies of the game once their license expires. They would not prevent existing buyers from continuing to use the game they have already paid for. Wouldn't this be a security risk for video game companies? Not at all. In asking for a game to be operable, we're not demanding all its internal code and documentation, just a functional copy of the game. There will be no more security risk than selling the game in the first place. Won't asking this harm the developers? Is very unlikely and far more likely to benefit them. Many video game developers have voiced their dissatisfaction with a game they've spent years of their life on, working destroyed by their publisher being powerless to stop it. By having laws requiring the game to function, it would help their work and legacy endure. It's possible for a small number of developers that could find new requirements problematic if they were unprepared for them. We anticipate that if implemented, there would be a significant lead in time giving developers to prepare for changes. Well, this bankrupt video game companies. I hope nobody says this. I hope nobody actually believes this. It is extremely unlikely. The costs associated with implementing this requirement can be very small, if not trivial. Furthermore, it often takes a company with large resources as opposed to even construct games of this nature in the first place. Small developers with constrained budgets are less likely to be contributing to this problem. True. Does this mean publishers will have to release copies of the game to ban players for hacking or disruptive behavior? Not at all while the game is being supported. All of our measures are focused on what happens to the game once support ends. So if disruptive player, yeah, no one cares about that one. Okay, we can, yeah, okay, we're gonna go through this question and that's it. Do these efforts impact single player and multiplayer games? Most, if not all, countries have no separate laws governing the sales of video games based on whether or not they are single player or multiplayer. The primary distinction under the law is typically about whether games are sold as an indefinite purchase or as a subscription service with a clear end date. We do not see it as productive to introduce new laws on this distinction where none currently exist. Thus, this would impact both game types. From a technical standpoint, multiplayer games can often be preserved with a comparable amount of effort as single-player ones. It's a deliberate decision by publishers when they choose not to. Furthermore, an increasing number of video games blend both single-player and multiplayer modes together, making this distinction too nebulous for many titles to have effective protections, even if the two modes are treated separately. So, there we go. You have a general idea, 20 minutes of the video, of what the Stop Killing Games initiative is about. It is about to stop publishers from just taking away video games after you've already paid for them. So, now we have this video by this chud right here. So he says, I cannot and will not support a vague and potentially dangerous start to this conversation. Call out the specific business practices that need to be resolved, not just games in general. But he did. He did actively call out the practice. He does not mention an actual video game in here until we get where it's not even on the front page. He doesn't even mention a fucking video game on here, man. He doesn't even mention a single fucking video game on here. He just mentions dude, the video hasn't even fucking started, and you've misrepresented what the initiative is about.
Hi, my name is Jason Thor Hall, also known as Pirate Software.
He gave his full name. I'm going to give my full name. Hi, I'm Nicholas Eric Robinson, and I'm reacting to this video.
I've been in the gaming industry for about 20 years. I used to work at Blizzard Entertainment, then Amazon Game Studios, and now I own my own.
I used to work at Marco's Pizza, and now I work at Chick-fil-A.
Pirate Software by the same names in the studio. I've been here for about 8 years now. I also run a massive community. We've got about 180,000 people in Discord, and most of what I do is try to teach other people how to make games, teach them that they can make games, show them the tools to do so, and try to do everything without any paywalls or bullshit in the way. It's incredibly important to me that we keep making games and that the next generation has the tools to do so that our medium doesn't die out.
We're gonna stop right there. We're gonna back up. We're just gonna have him repeat what he says. We keep making games, and that the next generation has the tools to do so. So you want the next generation of developers to have the tools to do so. If we don't properly preserve games from this era, they won't have the tools to do so. Who gives a fuck if they're live service? Who gives a fuck if it'll hurt the developers a little bit more? If you truly care about the developers as much as you say you do, you wouldn't give a fuck about that, man. I mean, we should have the games preserved, whether or not they fucking, they should be preserved. I mean, movies be preserved. Why can't video games be preserved? Video games make just as much as money. They cost just as much as video games to make. I mean, video games cost just as much as movies to make nowadays. They have similar costs. They have, sometimes video games, on average, cost more than movies do. It's insane.
It doesn't die out, and it never will. And that's the whole intention of all of this. So with that in mind, that community brought me this and tried to get me to sign it. And I don't want to. Number one, I can't because I don't live in Europe. But number two...
I mean, man, me too. I don't live in Europe either, unfortunately. But, you can bet my ass if I live in Europe, I'd be getting my entire family to sign this shit.
I wouldn't sign it even if I could. And I'm going to kind of go through this and try to explain the reasoning as to why that would be the case, without all of the internet hate machine that's grown up around it. So let's go into how this works and why this is an issue to me. First things first, what is an initiative? So an initiative is actually not law. It is something that...
True, an initiative is not law.
...that you put together so you can put it up in front of representatives and they can start the conversation. The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single-player experience, and then taking away support in the future, this ain't it. And the reason why...
So, right there, first minute 30 of the video, he has already blatantly misrepresented what this is about. I mean, he is, it's not even he's on the website, he's on the website. He's actively on the website, I'm kind of curious. I guess they did update the website. But at least now there's not even a mention of the crew on the website. But I mean, even then, the first line, this site is dedicated to the real-world action of ending the practices of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers.
Is specifically on this initiative under.
I didn't even get to my main point, did I? Go back.
As a single.
Go back.
Of parts.
Okay.
Wrong conversation. If we're trying to.
So he goes, if we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting a live service game,
pitching it as a single player
experience, and then taking a support in the future,
this ain't it.
This ain't it. Why? Why is this not it?
And the reason why is specifically on this initiative. Under its own description, it says, this initiative calls to require publishers that sell or license video games to consumers in the European Union or related features and assets sold for video games they operate to leave said video games in a functional playable state. Specifically, the initiative seeks to prevent the remote disabling of video games by the publishers before providing reasonable means to continue functioning of said video games without the involvement from the side of the publisher.
So right there, he has already read what the initiative is about.
This isn't always possible in all video games.
Right. This is always not all possible in all video games. Let's go back to the FAQ. Like, I mean, like he answered these questions. Like.
And it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat. It is.
What? Go back. Let's get a replay on that line.
And it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat.
And it does not call out the specific practice it is trying to defeat. It does. I want you guys to read this a little bit closer. It does not call out the specific challenge it is trying to delete. It is the specific, what do you say? Practice. I'm sorry. I'm a little bit jumbled over this. He is saying that it does not specifically say the practice they are trying to defeat. I want you to know this is the first line of the page. Quite literally the first line of the page. I mean, even in his video, it's slightly different, but, let's go back. 204 is where we're at. This site is dedicated to the real-world action on ending practice of publishers destroying video games they have sold to customers. But, I mean, he just skipped the first fucking line, man.
I wouldn't sign it even if I could.
Okay, I'm sorry. Let's get back to 204.
Publisher. Don't trust the state without the involvement from the side.
We'll put it in full screen. I forgot I can do that.
It's possible in all video games, and it doesn't call out the specific practice that this is supposedly trying to defeat. It is incredibly vague and will damage all.
It is incredibly vague and will damage all video games. So, all right. So I'm gonna summarize his argument right here in the first 2 minutes. His first argument is he does not support this because, one, it will affect all video games and it is incredibly vague. Okay. So what if it will affect all video games? So what? It'll affect all video games in the way that it will force them to have the game in a playable state after it's done. Okay, sure. I fail to see how that is a bad thing. And will damage all video games. Sure, man. All video games, even the free ones. Interesting.
Live service games. How would you keep League of Legends in a functional playable state? You'd have to re-architect the entire game. The game is what is called client server.
Okay. So his argument for this is you would have to re-architect the entire game. You know what I've got to say to that? Who fucking cares? Literally, who fucking cares? The game, League of Legends, this is a game that is free, but it has microtransactions. Like, you get, like, this, I mean, you spent money on these microtransactions. Like, I'm sure if you played League, I haven't played League, I will never play League, but you've probably spent money on some microtransactions in that game at least once, I mean, you've put money into the game. You would probably want some way to play it when it's gone, Even if, I know y'all fucking hate, I know League players hate playing League, just like, Sonic fans hate their fucking series. So, like, I have a feeling that you would want some way to play it, even if the entire game would have to be re-architected. I feel like that's a fair trade-off.
So in client server models, there's a server and there's a client, and all of the math, all of the game, everything happens on the server. The client just displays it. And the reason we want to do it that way is so that you can't teleport around and do a billion damage. You don't trust the client. You trust.
I don't get this point. So he's complaining that we don't give you access to the game, so you can't teleport on the map and do a billion damage. Okay, cool, but after the who cares? Okay, so right, I agree. There, they don't give you client side access, or they don't give you full access because they don't want you teleporting around the map and doing a billion damage. Sure, but who fucking cares when the game is dead, man? Who fucking cares when the company's like sunset the game already? Who cares when the game's already like you can't play the game anymore? You know, I mean, fuck, man. I'd rather be able to play the game and get my ass beat by cheaters than, you know, not be able to play the game at all, man. Like, shit.
It's the server. The client just displays what it's told, right? So if we wanted to re-architect this, we'd have to take all of that server logic, push it back out into the client, and somehow make that playable in a multiplayer-only video game.
Not true. We already disproved this point by going into RPCSN. Sony released no code. This was just completely reverse engineered by fans.
That doesn't make sense to me. So this isn't going to work for all games. Why is it calling out all games? And it's really easy to say like, oh, you know, that'll get worked out down the line. But we're dealing with government here. If we're going to be putting up these types of ideas specifically in front of government, we need to be calling out the right issues. Especially
now, this is a point I agree with. I agree. If you're going to bring an initiative like this, you should be calling out the right points. We're just gonna flashback, make sure we're calling out the right points. A consumer movement started to challenge the legality of publishers destroying video games that they have sold to code. Okay, so it's already stated the. Okay, gotcha. It's already stated what it does. It's not vague. Okay, cool.
If you don't have precedent set, because now you're going to be setting precedent on something that doesn't make any sense with people that may not understand the nuance of our industry, all in the name of saving games. I can't agree with that. So let's go into why this is happening. Right. So why did this start in the first place? What is the specific cases they've called out that are egregious? And they have one. It's The Crew. So action on The Crew. The video game The Crew, published by Ubisoft, was recently destroyed for all players and had a player base of at least 12 million people. Due to the game's size and France's strong consumer protection laws, this represents one of the best opportunities to hold a publisher accountable for this action. If we're successful in charges being pressed against Ubisoft, this can have a ripple effect on the video games industry to prevent publishers from destroying more games. First off, I don't like the idea in this that it has a player base of 12 million people. That is not how long-running games work. There is a large number of people that buy the game, and that player base slowly dwindles off until nobody is playing it anymore. If there's any costs associated with keeping the game online, which this was an online video game, then eventually it costs more to keep it online than it does to keep running it.
Right, and the consumer has paid money for this product. Just because the game was online, why can't the player have okay, for The Crew specifically, like, this part is what pisses me off about The Crew specifically. They had an offline mode already baked into the game for that game, and they just decided not to release it. I mean, they had a fully functioning offline version of the game. Just decided to just fucking axe the entire game instead of releasing the offline version. I mean, fuck, man.
Right, so the cost outweighs the amount of income for it. There are bad business practices that can occur in there. There are companies that will sell a online-only game as a single-player experience and kind of just put it into the TOS and hide it. But not all companies do that. When they do, we should be calling out that specific company, not all companies. So let's take a look at this and find out more about The Crew itself. If we pull up their Wikipedia, we can see that The Crew was actually created in 2014, which, much to the hatred of all of us oldies on the internet, was 10 years ago. Oh. So this was an online-only racing video game Developed by Ubisoft Ivory Tower and Ubisoft Reflections, and published by Ubisoft. So all Ubisoft, right? With that in mind, it said it was a scaled-down recreation of the contiguous United States and included both role-playing and large-scale multiplayer elements. So it had a massive multiplayer component to it. It is an online-only service-based game, and they shut it down 10 years later. On March 31st, 2024, Ubisoft shut down the game's servers, rendering the game unplayable, which is normal for live service games. The only thing that I can see...
Okay, but it shouldn't be normal for live service games is what our point is. This is the game that people pay. How much was the Crew at launch? Let's go find out. How much was the Crew when it came out? This was a $60 game that people... Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. They paid $87 for this guy's game and they just took it away?
That could be a problem.
Oh, so this is just him blatantly misrepresenting the Crew as well. This game already had a baked-in on or offline mode, and they actively made the decision not to include it. So he's talking out of his ass here, by the way.
Is if they posted as not an online-only experience. But everything that I found online shows that the game was always marketed as online only. If you're going to be buying an online-only game, that means it can only run when it's online. And if the servers need to shut down in the future, far in the future, it makes sense to me for the access to that game to be cut if it's online only. If it's a single player experience that has online only functionality specifically just to shut down the game in the future, and the online only doesn't actually add any gameplay functionality, I'd agree with you.
Okay, but like this my point still stands. This is still the game. This is a game that had an offline component already in the game, and Ubisoft chose not to. This is, I'm so frustrated over this, man. Oh, we're 5 minutes in. We're not only 5 minutes into the video, man.
That's really rare. And in the specific cases where it does happen, we should call out that, not just all games and not all live service games. Further, there's more context to this too. The Crew itself came out in 2014, but it actually had a sequel that came out in 2018. And then it had another sequel that came out in 2023. And if we go to the Crew's SteamDB, which again is not going to be all of the player base for this, it's only going to show the ones who were playing it through Steam. It was on multiple platforms. And we look at the max here, it did start out with a sizable amount of community, and then it degraded, and it had a major drop-off in 2018, which is the same year that it launched a sequel. This is normal. When a sequel comes out, a lot of the player base, if the sequel doesn't suck, will move over to it, and then the servers effectively die. You can't run a live service game on this few players. You can't. We're
not expecting you to run a live service game on this few players. We're just asking you to make it playable after you fucking done supporting it. That's all we're asking for.
Most of the time, especially not if there's anything else that goes into it. And if we go into that anything else, and we could see that there was license problems. So on December 14th, 2023, Ubisoft delisted the Crew and its expansions from digital platforms, suspended sales of microtransactions, and announced that the game's servers would shut down on March 31st. So they gave them 3 months. Usually I would say, hey, 6 months is probably a better deal, but if they're going to do 3 months, they're going to do 3 months. The only thing that I'd be interested outside of that is if there was a contractual obligation to do more than 3 months and they didn't follow it, if it was in the terms of service or not. Citing upcoming server infrastructure and licensing constraints. What were those licensing constraints? Well, it turns out that all of the cars in the game were licensed from the car companies. And a 10-year running game likely means that they had license to them for 10 years. And that means that it would likely reopen for negotiation. Now,
I don't need to refute these points. I mean, I've already refuted them. The Crew already had an offline mode baked into it, and they just chose not to.
I understand that's speculation, but I've seen this type of a deal many times in the industry while I've been working in it. So it's not unlikely. If you're going to have to renegotiate on a game that has so few players and is not turning a profit anymore, you're probably just going to forego the renegotiation. And if those servers are aging, you're not going to want to recreate that infrastructure. And there are some people that'll say, well, just make it all single player. Well, I've explained that that doesn't make any sense in the first place. If you're making it all single player, you'd have to carve off all of that, and it's developer time and money. When you already have...
Yeah, so he brings up this developer time and money point. If you really cared about the developers, you would care about how they felt about their own games being fucking taken offline just completely. Like, I bet the developers can't even play these fucking games anymore. They put, like, years of their life into that they can't even fucking play anymore. If you really cared about the developers, you want these games fucking preserved regardless of whether or not they were live service games. Like, I mean, there are so many developers who have probably put their, like, so much love, sweat, and tears into the Crew, man. and then they just take it offline and you can't play it anymore. Like, that fucking sucks from a developer standpoint, man. Like, this project you work so hard on just taken away from you like that. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that someone will like go online and just do that to an initiative? I'm sorry, I was getting off topic there. Can you imagine that someone would do that though? Crazy stuff.
Sequels out and the game has basically no.
When you already have sequels out, I don't get this point. So it's okay to kill off the old game and have it not be preserved because there's new games. Yeah, man. Oh, dude, fuck Final Fantasy, like, 1 through 6. We got Final Fantasy 7. Why would we need 1 through 6? We got Persona 5. Why would we need 1 through 4? You know? I mean, fuck it. You can just buy the sequel. You can just buy Persona 6, man. You can just buy fucking Final Fantasy 7. You can buy Final Fantasy 8. Fuck Final Fantasy 7 at this point, right?
Players left anyway, it makes more sense to just move on. I don't find that to be a problem from the developer perspective, and I understand that people find that to be a problem from the player perspective. These are two different ideologies, and that's okay to have two different ideologies. I just won't agree with it because I understand the burden that puts if we raise that problem in the way that we are right now. If you try to
like, dude, it's such a small like effort and such a small ask to just have an end service plan for games. I mean, why not? Why not? It's such a small ask, man.
Tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run one at all, then no one's going to run them. And we're going to
right there. Okay, he just blatantly misrepresented them again. Did you see that?
Raise that problem.
We raise that problem in the way that we are right now. If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not want to run it at all, let's go into the FAQ. Aren't you asking companies to support games forever? Isn't that unrealistic? Like, he didn't even fucking read, man.
Going to run them, and we're going to miss out on adventures like Final Fantasy XIV, and even though I don't play anymore, League of Legends, or any other live service game. Any of them. You're talking everything, like even phone games, as funny as that is. A lot of people don't realize that phone games require online-only activity. What about things like Pokemon Go? What about stuff like Monster Hunter Now?
I just want to say, like, same with the mobile games. I already brought up that point with the Animal Crossing stuff. Like, this was a game with an online focus, online component, and they made it entirely offline. I don't see why Pokemon Go couldn't do that. I don't see why Monster Hunter Now couldn't do that. I don't see why Jurassic World, whatever the fucking Jurassic World clone of Pokemon Go could do that. I don't see why they can't do that, you know?
We never get any of them. And that's why I think this needs to not be vague.
Okay, so he thinks this is not be a thing because it will disincentivize people from making live service games. I doubt that because you know how much fucking money live service games make? You know how much fucking Marvel Rivals made in its first month? Do you think that sales would have been affected if you think they would have fucking cared if they had to like prepare an offline mode? I wouldn't be surprised if they already have an offline mode for the game prepared. Like, I mean, the devs are pretty good to us when it comes to like Marvel Rivals. I feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if they already had something like that.
It needs to be specific about the business practice it's trying to defeat.
But it is very specific about it is literally in the first line. It needs to be more specific about the business practice it is trying to defeat. It is literally in the first line of the fucking website. It is literally, like, you cannot miss it, dude. You would have to be fucking Helen Keller to miss this shit.
Which is specifically companies that are doing this under the guise of it being a single-player game, but adding online-only functionality that is not necessary. And
that's not what it's targeting.
That's the problem. So now we're going to go to Ross, otherwise known as Accursed Farms, the creator of this initiative, and one of the ones that's pushing it the most online. I'm going to let him say exactly why he thinks that this will go through very easily and why it is important, and then I'm going to tell you why I don't agree with it.
Comes law in the EU? Yeah, it might be. Now, it's not a guarantee, but I think if we get the signatures, this passes. Why do I say that? Well, it's a few factors. Politicians like easy wins, and this doesn't require them to do much at all. And unless it involves gambling or protecting children, politicians generally don't care about video games. So this isn't of big consequence to them or most of their constituencies.
I'm going to stop it there for a moment. The assertion that politicians just like easy wins, so this legislation will go through, or that politicians don't care about a multi-billion-dollar global industry and that it doesn't matter to their constituencies is incredibly...
I actually agree with him on this point. I feel like these points are really fucking stupid on Ross's part, but back to the video.
Absurd. I don't think this is the right direction at all for a movement like this. I think it's incredibly damaging and it makes our entire industry look bad. Both on...
Okay, but that's just the reasons he thinks it might pass. That has no effect on the movement and his intentions for the movement.
The player side and the developer side. If we're going to be putting forward anything that may eventually turn into legislation, it should be passing because it's the right thing to do for consumers and developers, and that there's some kind of a middle ground, not just because it's an easy win and politicians don't.
But we're paying them for a service. They don't exist without the consumer. So no, actually, we shouldn't be meeting on a middle ground. We should be demanding more from the developer because they're butt fucking us. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you know, I just don't feel like they should be able to like snap their fingers and take away our games, dude. Raida Remastered is not gonna work for the 9th time. Just give it a rest.
This sets us off on a completely wrong foot.
EU law is already unclear on a lot of this practice anyway.
And that's dangerous. If we're going to be setting precedent, which could change the way that law works all the way down the road, then we need to be sending the right message, which this is sending a vague message that doesn't cover...
We're not refuting this point. I've already refuted it like 9 times.
The actual problem. So this is not a win to me. This is a huge...
It does cover the actual problem.
Risk.
And we would be making it easy for them to settle it. It falls in line with other consumer practices. You know, how when you buy something, you're generally allowed to keep it?
In the case of live service games, in the terms of service for those, you are not buying the game. You're buying...
I started this off with the beginning of the video. You're not buying the game. Yeah, you're buying a license to the game. Then the company should state that. The company does state that, yeah, but that's also not backed up by law. Just because you agree to the terms of service does not mean, you know, you go to a court of law, it's going to be upheld in there. You know, I mean, Disney could say, because you enter our park, we have the right to shoot you in the back of the fucking head. Obviously, that's not going to hold up in a court of law.
A license to the game. And that's the part that's really different here. If we don't like the idea of live service games as a whole, I get it. Don't play live service games then. Don't agree to those terms.
And that's not even what he's saying. That's not even what he's saying, man. That's just not even what he's saying. He's not even saying he doesn't like the idea. I like live service games, man. I've got fucking live service games on my computer right now. Actually, let's go look at my live service games. We got Marvel Rivals, Persona 5, The Phantom X, Star Wars Battlefront 2, fucking Bloom. Actually, those are online. Those are offline games. But Roblox, fuck, man. I mean, I like live service games. I've got some in my Steam library too. Like, fuck, man, I love me some live service games. Just because you care about video game preservation doesn't mean you can't like live service games.
But if we're under this weird idea that we need to get rid of all live service games or damage that practice in any way,
no, you are okay. This is him again, blatantly. I mean, blatantly misrepresenting this initiative.
To keep in line with consumer policies, it is in line with consumer policies. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be there in the first place. So this doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. You're not buying the game, you're buying a license to the game. In the niche cases where a studio is trying to sell a game as if you are buying it or purchasing it or using that language specifically and they give you a live service game instead, I agree that should change. That language should change. You are not purchasing the game, you are not buying the game, you are paying to have a license to a live service experience. I get that. Is that what this is doing though? The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically.
Okay, so you're mad that the initiative is not trying to call the issue specifically of the game developer doesn't tell you that they're selling you a license, not the actual game. That just kind of falls under the umbrella just because it doesn't like directly. Just because he doesn't directly say that doesn't. I mean, you know, it doesn't take a fucking idiot to put 2 and 2 together on this one. You know. But apparently this guy's a fucking idiot.
All games need to stay in a functional, playable state, which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically, not this vague bullshit.
And finally, this is a diversion from really serious topics that politicians would prefer not to deal with.
That's really gross to me as well. The idea that this is just a diversion from serious topics and they can get an easy win in and we can just push it through and there won't be a lot of pushback on it and they're not going to have to think about it too hard. That's crazy dangerous, dude. If you're going to be setting precedent, if you're going to be putting forward something that you want to start a conversation to eventually become legislation, and these are the reasons for it, not only can I not agree with the initiative, but I can't agree with you. And I think that the tactics that you're using here are really disgusting.
I can't agree there. I feel like the easy win politician shit is, I don't know. It just feels like it's not the right way to push the initiative, in my opinion. But I can definitely agree on that part. But blatantly misrepresenting what the initiative is for also does not help.
Disgusting. So yes, I won't agree with that, and I won't agree with Ross. There's no way around that. I think this is gross. To sum it all up, no, I will not be supporting the initiative Stop Killing Games. You're not going to change my mind on it because I find this language to be incredibly vague and damaging to the rest of our industry. I think that it will be bad for both developers and players down the line in the way that it is currently written. And I think that starting a conversation that doesn't get to the core of the issue is both wasted time and leads to potentially bad outcomes. So,
but like it does target the core issue. The core issue is developers just taking just Thanos snapping their fingers and like taking away your access to the game. It does target that, and it will actively like implement legislation to prevent that. Like I don't get what you mean about it being vague. I feel like you're just trying to be fucking different, or either that or you're just retarded. I don't know.
If we want to talk about this, let's talk about the actual bad business practices. In the case that a studio is making a live service game and they sell it to you as a product, they say that you are purchasing the game or you are buying the game, when in reality you're actually purchasing or buying a license to that game. I think that we should be fighting about that. That needs to go away. A player should be well informed at the point of purchase that they are purchasing a license, not buying a game. And the reason that we have those licenses in the case of client-server interactions, like we had before, we're talking about client-server games, is so that they can ban you when you cheat at them. They revoke your license. That's why they revoke your license, to protect the gameplay of every other player that you're impacting when you cheat at these games. That needs to exist, but it needs to be better informed.
Yeah, cool. I understand that they can revoke your license for any reason. So let's just like, and I understand it's to protect the game. Cool. So let's get legislation that makes that less vague as well. And, maybe we can get our legislation to be like, maybe, our vague legislation can make that legislation less vague. I don't know, man. That point was kind of bullshit on my part, but yeah. I don't know. I might cut that part out, low-key. I don't know what I was saying. That was kind of just gibberish right there.
To the player at time of purchase. So I agree on that. This doesn't bring that up, though. It just attacks all video games that have online-only components and says that they need to keep being able to be played indefinitely.
Dude. Like, there he is. He didn't even fucking read through the page, man. He's blatantly lying and misrepresenting. Look at the FAQ section. The FAQ section just annihilates whatever fucking retarded points you have.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Aside from that, a lot of people really like live service games as they exist now. So trying to kill off all live service games is some people's.
This is not what the initiative is trying to do. This is not what the initiative is trying to do. This is not what the initiative is trying to do. This is not what the initiative is trying to do. The initiative is trying to the initiative has no effect on anyone actively making. If you are actively making live service games, they have no plan to interfere with that, interfered with the business. Like, it does not interfere with the business at all. They are only saying for when the game ends, the developers should have a plan for it. So this game could run for fucking 20 years, and they still haven't announced their end of life plan for it. Once the end of life hits, bam, they have to make a plan for it. That is all they're asking for. This does not affect the game during its running hours. You came on here. What you did was you came on here and you blatantly lied. You blatantly spread misinformation about a movement that is trying to go pro-consumer rights. This is what you did. I don't care what your intentions were. I don't care what, I don't care what you thought you read. I don't care what you thought. You are wrong on this. And here we go. Been reading through all of the posts against me over my stance on the Stop Killing Games initiative. Some people call me a liar or I misrepresented the initiative, but you did. We proved like 3 times, like not even 3 times, like 5, 6, 7 times that you blatantly did misrepresent this initiative in this video that actually I got from your post. Like literally, I came down here, clicked on this video. It is from your post. You, not me, you blatantly misrepresented this. For the last little bit, I'm gonna go over my tweets. I wrote up a couple tweets about the topic. So I said, man, I'd be so pissed if the guy running Stop Killing Games just like got on a platform, and he's got a platform as big as he does, and just started spreading straight lies about a movement that you had good intentions for, man. It's insane. Like I said, you blatantly misrepresented everything this initiative stood for in your initial video. You even said yourself, I'm going to stop and tell other people not to support it. This is something he said. I don't have the clip up right now. I really wish I did. But he says, I'm going to tell other people not to support this. We're going to go to the fucking Voice Critical video. I don't care. Voice Critical Dart, man. So true. Stop Killing Games.
Him explain it in his...
We're going to skim through the video. We're going to look for that one clip of this fucking retard.
Transitioning an entire multiplayer server-side game into a single-player video game, which means rebalancing the entire experience around single player, rebuilding everything in the entire game. How are you going to do that with Final Fantasy XIV? You're just going to make all the raids soloable? Imagine the day that World of Warcraft shuts down, and suddenly you have to make it a single-player game for every individual that ever bought the game. That's what they're asking for.
No.
Because they would have to sunset live service games as a single-player experience. The idea that suddenly you need to make every single live service game playable single-player offline? No, dude.
Correct. No.
This part is more confusing than...
Yeah, I mean, okay, fuck, I gotta find this clip, dude. Otherwise, my point is for naught. Shut up, Charlie, I don't care.
Which, if that's what Stop Killing Games was asking for, it would be unreasonable. But that's not what it's asking for.
Nowhere in there does it say that it's directly targeting always online single-player games.
Oh, he's so close. He's so close to getting it.
Dude, he got it, dude. He really got it right there. Nowhere in this does it say it's targeting a single player.
It is vague, and because of that, it will impact
He never has that light bulb moment. Well, he is correct in that statement. It's almost as if that's not what the initiative is asking for.
I know this part is once again just reinforcing that he doesn't know.
I have to... I'd find the specific clip. Like, I really have to. Like, he just blatantly says that it's wrong. Fuck. Please, I have to find this clip.
Having to support the game forever. He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters.
Else, come on, I need to find the fucking clip of this guy saying that he will blatantly... I promise you that there's a clip out there. He is saying that he will blatantly not support this movement, and he will tell other people not to support it. Like, yeah, I don't know how you can see something that's pro-consumer and say that's dog shit. If I pay however much money for a live service game, I should still have access to it when the devs stop supporting it and choose to stop supporting it. I mean, this is something I'm really passionate about, so it's really scummy that just developers like this can just take away your access to games like that. So that about sums up this video. You know, I like to have these videos be like an hour plus long. If you're in the EU and you're seeing this, please go sign this initiative. It means a lot to me and means a lot to the guy doing this shit. Yeah, I mean, just go support it, man. It is heartbreaking just to see this thing that this guy has worked so hard for, and that's something that's honestly pretty damn selfless. I mean, it's horrible, man. Yeah, I mean, just geez, man, you know. That'll about do it for this one. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching. We'll probably follow up on the part 2, so another on his part 2 tweet, or on his part 2 video, on another video, so I can have some more content, 1 and 2. So I have a reason to come back to this channel. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Please support the Stop Killing Games initiative, share it, do whatever you can, and yeah, have a good one.